they went on about their business.
They were the last known to see the girls alive. A coroner's report at the time describes a vicious murder. 11-year-old Betty June Benniker and 7-year-old Mary Emma Tames were beaten to death. Multiple severe head injuries suggested the killer used a hammer. The Stinney family fled in fear after police came for little George.
They were looking for somebody to blame. So they used my brother as a scapegoat.
The motive was attempted rape. And in a dizzying rush to judgment, George Stinney's trial reportedly took just 3 hours. The all-white jury deliberated just 10 minutes before the judge sent him to the electric chair. His defense attorney called no witnesses and filed no appeal. With attorneys representing the Stinney family today,
This is where the girl...
I went back to where that tragic encounter happened to find the railroad tracks rusted, covered in kudzu, and the field littered with painful memories. A rush to judgment I can almost understand, but why was there no appeal?
George Stinney needed to be dead soon. George Stinney sitting in jail for a year would have been an incredible difference in the facts and circumstances of this case. And I think in that way, they swept it completely under the rug.
In spite of a confession police say they got from Stinney, family attorneys say a new examination of the few records that still exist shows a botched investigation. Stinney's alibi, his little sister, was never questioned. There was no evidence of attempted rape, no evidence of blood on Stinney's clothing, and no murder weapon consistent with the wounds found on the girls. What is left seems like an almost impossible story, that little George Stinney was somehow able to murder both of these little girls, beat them to death without a struggle, then carry both of their bodies and their bicycle about 300 yards that way to hide them in a ditch. 70 years later, the Stinney family asked a South Carolina court to throw out George's conviction. All of the authorities from that era are gone, along with most of the court records. Surviving relatives of the murdered girls continue to believe in Stinney's guilt and question his family's timing.
I have sympathy for the parents and the sisters and the brother. I feel like that they know that he did it, and that's why they never have revisited the grave. They never have put a headstone there or footstone, and they never talked about it.
If we had allowed a stone to be there and someone found out where my brother was, they probably would have dug his grave up and thrown him to the wolves. Even if you think I'm wrong, my brother did not do it, and I hate no man.
In the end, the Stinney family got what they were looking for. The judge agreed young George's rights had been violated and threw out his conviction. Described by his family as bright and talented, George Stinney wanted to be an artist when he grew up, daring to dream beyond the limitations of life in the segregationist South. Instead, his name will be forever linked to a tragic story of Jim Crow-era injustice. David Mattingly, CNN, Alkaloo, South Carolina.